Let's learn what an ENV file is as if you've never coded in your entire life. So by the end of this video, you're going to understand fundamentally why you keep seeing this .env, .local, .env, .example situation in your app builder and what it actually means. Does that sound good? Let's jump in. Welcome back, y'all. Today, we're going to be checking out the ENV file. I remember when I first started coding, I was like, what is this? This is important. And a lot of the stuff when it comes to coding is this essentially stores very high risk variables. So to put simply, you've probably seen this before where the underlying key when it is shown in a code file will be like process.env.api key or OpenAI key or Anthropic key or Replit key, like whatever it is, that's how it'll show up in the code. And this is a secure way of essentially accessing the real key found in the .env file. And this is where all your secrets go. Now, let me just take a step back here, kind of break this down a little bit further. So first thing you need to understand about an ENV file is that there's different types of ENV files. I don't like this font. Give me a better font. There you go. So you got your standard .env, and you got .env.example, and you got .env.qa, you got .env or staging.env.staging. Don't worry, I'll make this all make sense. Prod. First thing you understand about ENVs is that they should only and ever be found on your computer locally. So what I mean by that, and what you'll see here, is that this is why we never commit them to something like GitHub. You never pass these around in messages, Slack. Like, this is a situation where if you have your code for your application in the cloud and your computer completely burns and dies and you launch a new computer, you can get all your code except the ENV file, as the ENV file is meant to be locally on your computer. Therefore, secure, right? No one can access it unless they have the login to your computer, and then you're cooked. ENV example. Honestly, we're just going to call this env.local. As the name sounds, env.local, these are just keys, right? This is like Anthropic key, OpenAI key, whatever key. This is on your computer. This never leaves your computer. env.example is an example file. So typically what these do is that you'll see both, where if someone does download your project or code base, what will happen is that you will have like OpenAI key right there, but it'll be like equals and then like a fake number, right? Like, or just like placeholder. Point of an example file here is that you don't actually put real keys here. This is like a placeholder that does get pushed to the cloud, so people that download your code or use your code can input their own API key. Let's get down here real quick to ENV, QA, and ENV production. First thing you need to understand is that what the heck even is that? So think of QA like staging, or put it this way. You have your code on your computer. You can run localhost 3000, maybe you have like some backend local situation, right? This is all like no one can share your link. What a staging environment or QA is, exact same thing, different name, potato situation, is your software, but on a live cloud website link that people can access. People make these environments for the purpose so that they can test in QA, and then if it works in QA, they then push to production. And then what production is, which you may be familiar with, is your real website that real people use and real customers use. Therefore, the variables associated with QA and production are going to be different. But to put simply, if you have an OpenAI key to access AI, oh my gosh, this key will be different here, and then even as far as here as well. What people do, and I don't want to make this too confusing, y'all, but to put simply is that sometimes if you're deploying to QA, you'll reference this in the deploy script. Oh, disappear. And if you're deploying to production, you'll reference the env.production. I had a phone call. We're back. All right, so let's look at a nice little fun diagram again. If you're confused, you're like, this guy has just been yapping. I have no clue what this guy is talking about. Look at it in a fun diagram. So you have your secrets, you know, OpenAI key, database URL, maybe you're using Firebase, maybe you're using Supabase, whatever you're using. This is secrets. We know this, right? You go ahead, you go in your settings of your account, you hit create API key. That's what this is. Now we have different versions of these secrets, right? So maybe you have an API key that is solely dedicated for the dev environment. So that's the OpenAI API key that we use just for the dev environment. And then we have a separate API key that is just for the production environment. It really isn't that difficult if you think about it. And the reason we granularize like this, where you have two separate OpenAI keys, one here and one here, is due to the nature of granularization, right? So if I'm in production, like this is what I'm serving to a real customer, I don't need the logs and the billing associated with the dev environment. You can probably tell that can get really murky really fast. Can we change the color? Please. There you go. New color. I can get murky really fast. So we granularize. Therefore, we keep this one specific OpenAI API key specific to production. and this one specific OpenAI API key specific to dev, QA, whatever, staging. Point being is that you use this exact same logic throughout your entire software development process for all API keys. They'll have duplicates for the different quote unquote environments. As you could probably assume, ENV stands for environment. And no, not the ones with the beautiful trees, the ones where it's just servers and it lives in the cloud. And this gets to what we said over here. We never commit ENV files. The only one you would commit is an example one because it's like a placeholder file, and that's why we just get ignore there. A lot of this stuff you can basically just grab into a chat in AI and be like, explain a little bit more what he meant by this. What did he mean by this? All right, in action. So ENV files will be created typically very fast by AI now. Like it will just create it, and this is where you add your secrets, and then when you call it within your code, we already know this process.env, and then it will say like whatever the name is, API key. What you'll notice is that the naming is associated with how it's named here. This actually is pretty important, specifically when it comes to naming here. Sometimes some applications or code bases want you to name it in a very specific way. So for example, Vite OpenAI API key, that might be the way once it named VITE. If you don't know what that means, don't worry. But the point being is that ask your AI, make sure you're naming it the correct way, because for some reason, some code languages don't like reading variables that aren't named in the structure that it wants it in. That's why you'll notice a lot of times these keys are all capitalized, underscores, everything of this nature. And I'm not saying like the actual API key is, I'm saying like the name for the API key is, e.g. database URL. All right, who cares? Basically everyone, right? If you do anything when it comes to having high risk variables, you'll have an ENV file. But I'm gonna take this one step further, y'all. In reality, if you're a solo dev, you will find that you'll be leveraging an ENV file a lot. But true best practices are limiting the amount of use on an ENV file. Like obviously use it, I deploy with it, etc. But in reality, when the code actually reads it in a live environment, you need to be looking for things like a secret manager. A good example of this is Google Secret Manager. And what this is simply think of it like your local ENV file, but how do we do this in a production live environment, Corbin, that's in the cloud? So that if your computer explodes and it loses all of the data associated with the ENV file, like where does this exist in a secure way? And this exists in things like Google Secret Manager. This is where you can store API keys, passwords, certificates, sensitive data. That is the equivalent to a live cloud environment where it's serving these keys in real time. Corbin, I use Superbase. Corbin, I use AWS. Find the equivalent. Literally just ask Claude, be like, yo, this guy uses Google Secret Manager, but my backend's AWS. What's the equivalent? That situation. You successfully know what an ENV file is, so stop leaking them on GitHub, okay? And as you already know these style videos, make sure you like. I'll see you in the next. The Corbin quite literally just explain what an ENV file is, as simple as possible type of video.